Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys briefly about a couple different styles of good mornings and why each one has its place in your training and why they bring different things to the table. And I'm someone who uses all of these, right? I use different barbells, I use different variations of the good morning, and I do so with my clients. And I happen to feel that these lifts have been very, very pivotal in me building the squat and deadlift strength that I have, as well as that of many of my clients. And what people need to realize, there's a couple different variations. You guys saw me doing a max good morning there. Then you'll see over here me doing some sets of 10 with, I think this is 365 on it this time. By the time this video comes out, I'll probably be a lot stronger. And you'll notice that these are more of a power good morning. What do I mean? There's knee bend, right? There's knee bend, and we're not worried about getting an ultra deep range of motion. Now keep in mind, my back is still into a pretty deep angle. Like, this is not what you're thinking of as just a total like half squat. Because you'll see a few people, and I actually had a subscriber say, hey, look at me doing, this rep work with this really heavy weight. And he was doing a half squat like a half good morning, right? And I'm not saying that we need to go super deep. We don't need to get the back completely 90 degrees from the floor by any means when we're doing the power version with a little bit of a bent knee, but we want to get reasonably deep. Okay, the whole idea here is that with the bent knee, this does carry over to the squat. It carries over to the squat tremendously. And I'm a believer in training this sort of variation, and I happen to agree with Louis Simmons, who again, whole point of contention as to some people think he's infallible. Other people don't like the fact that people treat him as infallible. Louis not infallible, but he knows what he's doing. Arguably the greatest coach of all time in the strength and powerlifting world. Arguably. I happen to think he is. Doesn't mean he's perfect. But he has stated that if your good morning, max good morning, is as strong as your squat, you'll never have to fear good morninging a squat. And when we're talking about that, we mean this type of good morning. We're talking about a good morning with bent knees to where it is on the hip hinge versus squat continuum a little more squatty. Because it's a continuum, isn't it? I mean, even if we want to think about instead of hip hinge versus squat, we could even think of good morning versus squat. There's a continuum there. Just like we discussed that continuum existing for pulls from the floor. Is it a hinge or a squat? They're all hinges. Some are more squatty than others. In this case, we're making it slightly more squat-like. What does this do? Puts more focus on the glutes. Forces you to put a heavier weight on the bar. You will be able to use more weight. It may not be a massive amount more, but it will be more. And this version is, again, one of the versions that let you move a lot of weight. And it carries over to your squat tremendously. If you look at it, it works every muscle in the body using the squat very heavily other than the quads. Literally, the quads are the only squat muscles not being hit extremely hard. Arguably, a lot of those muscles involved in the squat are being hit harder than they would be on a squat of equal intensity. That's an important point. It helps build the top half of the squat because there is a hip hinge involved with a power squat. And as long as you build your quads to go with it, you're good to go. Now, then you see me doing a much stricter version. This is basically a straight leg. Then what do you see me doing? I'm stopping it on slings. Now, if you don't stop it on slings, you can still do good mornings this way with a bent knee. And this is usually how we teach novices to do the good morning. Okay, this shifts some of the emphasis from the glutes over to the hamstrings. Okay, this teaches you how to hip hinge. I think most people can look at this and realize this would be very, very effective for the bottom of a deadlift. Okay, if you want to get really good at pulling off the floor, but you want to build the muscles up in a way that an exercise you can do a lot of volume and recover from, this variation works. It is very, very easy to recover from. Forces you to use a lighter weight, phenomenal stimulus to fatigue ratio. It'll make you a better deadlifter. It will make you a better deadlifter. And I'm not saying both versions don't carry over to both. There's just some slight differences as far as where as the emphasis would be. And a lot of it has to do with glute versus hamstring. Okay? Both of them work the whole back. But you know what affects how much upper back and things you work? Depends on what bar you're using more than anything. Bar placement, what bar you use. Arguably, the safety squat bar would hit the upper back even harder. This bar is not bad. I won't hit it as hard as the safety squat bar, but then we kind of come over to that if we really wanted to hammer the upper back, which is currently a weak link for me. I have a new safety squat inbound at the time of this video being made. It's actually in shipping right now. FedEx should have it to me within a few days. This version, though, again, much easier on recovery, more hamstring, but you're not going to build the sheer amount of glute and hip power that you will on the other. Hey, there's a trade-off happening here. Can you do more total volume on this one? Yes. You know, a lot of guys will say things, oh, I like Romanian deadlifts for the hamstrings. This will crush the Romanian deadlift for the hamstring. Why? Because you can handle higher volumes of training. It's easier to recover from set for set. Gets the same stretch reflex and RDL gets. Now, in the case of me stopping it on the slings, that actually makes me work the upper back a little harder. Okay? Upper back has to get it moving a little bit. It puts a little more stress on the upper back. One reason to do it off of slings or chains. But the straight leg version with a narrower stance like that, more hamstring. The wider power stance, going to be more glute and hip. And again, what we have to point out with these different versions, they all work all of the muscles. In other words, any good morning variation is going to work your thoracic erectors. It's going to work your lumbar, your spinal erectors in the lumbar region. It's going to work the glutes. It's going to work the hips. It's going to work the hamstrings. They're going to work the calves. Okay? All of these versions are going to work those things. However, the ratios are different. It's just like when we talk about a closed grip bench versus a wide grip bench versus a medium grip bench versus a slight decline, right? There's differences, but the same basic muscles are worked. Same concept. And I think the thing to remember here is that what this points out is the Good Morning is a really, really versatile tool. It's a very versatile tool because you have these easy variations. And there's a wide number of different barbells you can do. I think I personally own something like 5 different barbells that you can easily do good mornings with that slightly change the exercise. There's a lot of variation available. Very easy to avoid overuse. Okay. But all these tools have roles. Doing them with rep work, doing them for maxes. They're all valuable tools. And it's important that when you do each one, you understand what it is you're trying to achieve with it. Okay? That's all we're doing, picking the best tool for the job. All right, guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.